بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It was a year ago when a cowardly attacker, indistinguishable from the Westminster Bridge attacker, from the Manchester Arena attacker, and from the London Bridge attackers, 1 year since he perpetrated a heinous crime, not only against the Muslim community, but against everyone living in London, every person living in the UK. It was an attack against those who cherish and value the right to practice their religion freely and openly. He wished to create a rift and a divide between communities, to tear us apart, and he failed. He failed epically. For every bridge that existed prior to the attack was strengthened, and new bridges were built and erected, and any barriers that existed beforehand were erased. The community, or the communities, with all of its faith groups and ethnic groups, was galvanized and stood as one to say no to bigotry and hatred. We may be an island nation, but what became clear last year is that the faith groups and communities and ethnic groups in this country are not islands. They do not stand alone, isolated from one another. Rather, we stood and we continue to stand as one against bigotry, against hatred, against racism, against Islamophobia, against the rhetoric of the far right. Let us be clear that Islamophobia is just as abhorrent as anti-Semitism, as any form of racism and persecution. And we will not remain silent, and we will not allow those in power, in positions of influence and responsibility, to go unchecked for leaving Islamophobia to grow in our society. To conclude, tonight we break our bread, or we break bread together in a tradition of the prophets. The prophets and their followers never ate alone. They always had guests, through which they were able to forge friendships and alliances. And tonight, I invite everybody to break bread with us. I invite you to sit and to speak and to cooperate. I invite you to cooperation and to allegiance and to the greater good, which cannot be achieved by individuals or even by individual groups, but rather as a collective effort. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enrich us with this feeling, this sense of community, of love, of mutual respect, of cooperation, of putting the community and the collective above the individual. And with that I conclude, and with a dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reconcile our hearts and unify us upon that which is good, and that God grant us the resolve that He granted Makram Ali's family, and the dignity by which they conducted themselves after his tragic death. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him and to raise him to the station of the martyrs, and that he be in the company of the prophets and the messengers and the righteous. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Thank you very much, and enjoy your iftar, and thank you all very much for coming and attending today. Thank you.